Should it have popped up?
We are live. So,
Okay.
hi everyone.
Hey, we're
Welcome.
here.
Welcome to tonight's event, Beauty from Within. Thank you for joining us. It is my pleasure to have Rhiannon Lockheart back with us. Again, Rhiannon is a registered holistic nutritionist practicing at one of Vancouver's oldest naturopathic clinics, as well as Organika's educator. In practice, her focus lies in hormone, gut health, and mental health, especially because they're also tied together. So, before I hand it over to her, just a couple of housekeeping things. Feel free to ask questions in the YouTube live chat. You will need an account to submit a question to do that. So, if you don't have an account, then you can sign up for one now. After the event, just look for a link for a survey, and if you fill that out with your physical mailing address, you will receive one of these, which is a nutrition buck. So that's a $10 off coupon if you spend $50 or more in our store. And for future events, please visit our website, choicesmarkets.com. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Rhiannon. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. I love doing these things, and I love talking about the topic that we're going to get into tonight. So I love to chat about not inner beauty. Everyone has some inner beauty, but finding that more ingestible beauty side of things, because I think we're marketed today so many topical products, so many things that you can be putting on your skin for glowing health, glowing skin, things that you can put in your hair for lustrous long hair and your nails. But we don't always talk about the inside. We don't always talk about the things that you should be ingesting, whether or not it's food, supplements, things that maybe you should be avoiding, that are all going to contribute to overall a better beauty routine. And a lot of the times I talk about this with clients because some of the products, if you're not buying from the right places, they might have some ingredients in there that are actually doing more harm than good in the long run. So those are always things that you want to consider when you are buying products that you're putting on externally. But you can always think about starting from what you're putting in your body. And then ideally, you're not going to need to use as many of those external products. So number one, I want to say a huge thank you to Choices. You guys are amazing. We absolutely love doing these with you guys. I love talking to people who are very interested in their health and their wellness. And I know that everyone shopping at Choices definitely is. And a little bit about Organika. So we are a natural wellness company that is in BC. If you actually know, across the Knight Street Bridge, you'll see two Organika signs. We actually have two sides of the road there, one side for our manufacturing facility and one side for our head office. And we've actually been around for almost 31 years now. So we celebrated 30 last year in August, and we'll be hitting 31 this year in August, which means that we've been around in the industry for a really long time. It's gone from father to sons, and that means that there's a lot of industry knowledge that's been passed down from generation to generation. And who knows, our CEO right now has two sons, so he might pass it down to them. We'll just put it out there for now. Who knows? And it started off as a really small line of supplements. So there's literally just like a handful that Tom Chin, who was the owner originally and the founder, was just hustling out of the back of his van. And now it has a ton of different products, everything from powders to food to tablets to supplements, so capsules. It's just got everything in between and basically everything for any walk of life that you're in right now. And a little bit about myself. So I am Rhiannon. I am a holistic nutritionist, as we already have mentioned, and I've worked at a clinic called Integrative Naturopathic Medical Center for the last 2 years, alongside working with Organika as their educator. So I really love just talking about food. I love talking about supplements that are going to be supportive for you, and that's what we're here today to do. I do always love to start anything off with the fact that, reminder, this video, so anything involved in it is really for informational purposes only. If you have any specific questions, Probably not going to be able to answer it in this typically because we need a lot more background information to be able to give you accurate advice. But it is also really important for you to consult your medical professional if there's anything that is really important that maybe you picked up from this conversation. So, what are we going to dive into today? Some of the stuff that you're going to see me talk about today. Number one, how your digestion plays a role in glowing skin. I think this is a very, very important topic that we start off with because so many of us are wondering like, why am I breaking out? Why am I having eczema? Why am I having rosacea? What are these patches on my arm? And a lot of the time it's coming back to our gut health. Next, we're going to go into the hot topic that absolutely everyone loves to discuss, collagen. We're going to go into some of the most asked questions. So, alongside me doing this now as an RHN and seeing clients every day, I also played a role as a on the customer service end at Organika a couple of years ago. So I've seen this question time and time again. We are going to talk about which collagen is the one for you. We're going to dive into the different types and tell you, how it actually works. We're going to also dive into the food as well, foods that you want to be consuming and foods that you want to be avoiding. The reason I do this is because, like we mentioned, I do practice with people every single day. So that means that I don't just look at supplements, we look at the whole body approach to things. So we can always be adding in a lot of the supplements that I'm going to talk to about today are going to be excellent additions to a really good diet. So, first off, I really like to discuss what are some of the things that actually might be causing some of these skin issues. Number one, we actually look at things like an imbalanced gut, sluggish detox pathways, food intolerances and some sensitivities, hormone balances, lack of sleep, as well as a high stress lifestyle. Now, when I say all this, I know that it says what's causing my skin issues, but this can be any beauty woe that you're experiencing. Bags under the eyes, brittle hair, brittle nails. Is your skin kind of looking a little bit sullen? Are you looking more fatigued? To go into detail about a couple of these, I do want to talk a touch about our sluggish detox pathways before we move on. First off, I want to discuss the fact that your detox pathways are the ones that I typically focus on when I'm talking about beauty, skin health, hair health, all those things, is really our liver, as well as our ability to have a bowel movement. So Dion and I were actually chatting about this before you guys all came on, but it's really important for us to be having a daily bowel movement. So this means a well-formed, should be banana shaped, bowel movement on a daily basis. If that is not happening, it should be a good idea for you to talk to your healthcare practitioner about how to get things moving. Because when those aren't moving, it's a really easy way for us to start reabsorbing toxins, hormones, things that are not leaving our digestive tract, and then causing more imbalances in our body. The other piece that I really want to chat about is the lack of sleep and high stress lifestyle because the number of clients that I see on a regular basis that are coming in, they're not getting good sleep because they have a high stress lifestyle. We're starting to then see poor food choices. We're starting to see an imbalance in their gut. It always comes back to sleep and stress. So if you are dealing with a host of problems and you're not sleeping very well every night, again, that's something that you want to be tackling. So balancing your gut microbiome. Your gut is made up of good and bad bacteria. So this is my favorite way to explain it. I always like to talk about our gut microbiome as a little rainforest that lives in our body. And this is actually any microbiome. We have a lot of them. Our gut is not the only one, but that's the one that gets talked about the most because it is really, really important. So, with our gut microbiome, think of it as that little rainforest. And it works because if you look at a rainforest, you have the good and the bad. You have the good things like the trees and the animals that care for each other and the plants that thrive. And let's think about the bad as the thing that need to be in there. The animals that are in there that are going to eat the other animals, the top of the food chain guys that rip up the plants and they eat the other animals because that's the way the cycle works. We need everything to keep it in check. These are all of the checks and balances that live in the rainforest, that live in our gut. The problems start coming in when there's an overgrowth of the bad guys. So let's say, you know, I'm going to say a lion. A lion doesn't even live in the rainforest, but nothing else is coming to my mind right now. So let's say the lions, they just start ultimate breeding and they then start taking over, and then none of the other animals are left because everything else gets eaten. Then we start to see that imbalance. Other pieces, okay, say we have a drought and we actually don't have a lot of that good bacteria. So that would be the trees and the rain covering and the smaller animals, they start to die off. We see an imbalance and then nothing really thrives really well. The other thing that can always happen too is a virus or a pathogen or some kind of toxin comes into our body and starts wiping everything out. Let's call this example in the sense of a rainforest, let's call it humans. So humans come into the rainforest, we start clearing down trees. Same kind of thing as adding in a toxin, a medication, something into our gut microbiome that clears out the good and sometimes the bad. So when there is imbalance, we typically have trouble absorbing the right nutrients. So this means that we have a problem getting rid of the toxins. Typically, again, if we're not having those bowel movements, we can see things like intestinal permeability, also deemed leaky gut. And when all of this is starting to happen, we can then see things being absorbed into our body that are causing inflammation, which we can see in our skin. Dry and brittle hair or nails. Sometimes we get eczema. Sometimes we're seeing acne pop up. There's a lot of pieces where all of this starts then playing a role into our beauty routine. So those are a couple of things that you do want to look out for. Inability to focus, brain fog, those skin issues like I talked about, white coating on the tongue, digestive upset, of course. Those are just small ones that we don't always necessarily think about. So I also included a list of gut disruptors. And the reason I wanted to include this is because these are typically things that either help the bad to grow in our gut or they clear out that good. Looking at things like sugar intake. And I'm not saying I'm not talking about sugar in the sense of any and all carbs. I'm not talking about, eating fruit that has really good probiotics in it and prebiotics. Sorry, not probiotics. They have really good prebiotics in it. Or, having things like adding a little bit of maple syrup or honey sometimes, which can be a really great immune supporter. I'm talking about those more man made sugars when we're looking at white sugar, brown sugar, some of those things, cane sugar, rice syrup, glucose syrup, all of those, keeping an eye on how much you're ingesting of those. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So those are things like Advil, which can clear out the good bacteria in our gut, especially if you're using it on a really consistent basis. Excessive alcohol consumption, again, clearing out that good. Nutrient deficiencies, inflammation in the body. So catch 22, inflammation can be caused by a leaky gut or can be caused by gut issues. But again, inflammation can then cause that. Stress, yeast overgrowth, antibiotic use, 100% if you are someone that is chronically using antibiotics, highly likely that there's going to be some gut issues, which you then might start seeing skin issues popping up as well as certain medications. So, aside from antibiotics, one thing I always talk to people about is the use of the birth control pill. I am totally not anti pill, so please do not think that that is where I'm going with this. But just having more information is always what I'm about. So, that means that, with taking the birth control pill, as well as a lot of other over the counter medication in some circumstances, can also clear out some of that good bacteria. Now, can collagen help in your beauty routine? This collagen alone is not going to fix all the gut issues that we were talking about. Like I mentioned, it is really important that you do change up diet and lifestyle factors. But I want to talk about collagen because, like I said, it is probably the most hotly discussed supplement on the market, at least in my world. Most of my clients ask me if they should be taking it. They ask me which one they should be taking, how much they should be taking. So, we're going to get into all of that right now. I'm also going to talk about a couple of other supplements that can be really helpful for you. So, number one, collagen is actually the most abundant protein in mammals. Specifically, when we're looking at our skin, we're looking at 70 to 80% of our skin is made up of collagen. 80% is found in our tendons, 60% of our muscle mass, and 60% of our cartilage. This means that not only is our skin health reliant on collagen, so are our tendons and our joints. So if you are dealing with joint pain, inflammation, adding in a collagen supplement can be a really helpful thing for you. My mom takes it on a regular basis and she swears by it. So she always adds it to her smoothie. She started taking a couple of other ones as well, along with the powder. There's a pill that she also takes too, just to up her collagen intake. She adds in chicken bone broth, all of that kind of stuff. Now, the question a lot of people ask, and I think this is coming up more and more as we're learning more about collagen, is that did you know that your body actually makes its own collagen? I get this question often. They say, okay, well, do I have to take it if my body's making its own? First, that's your own choice. But I encourage people, especially if you've hit the age of 25, I really encourage you to think about adding in a collagen supplement. It can be enhanced collagen, which is like a bovine collagen. You can do marine collagen. We'll get into the difference between those in a second. I started taking collagen when I was 25 years old, I think. Um, it's actually how I was first introduced to Organika, to be totally honest. I saw it all on Instagram, all of the health influencers that I follow. Like, let me tell you, small secret about myself. I'm the type of person where I went down to LA a couple years ago and my friends were all on the hunt for like celebrities and they saw Sophia Bush or something at one of the restaurants and I was like, "Meh, whatever." But I was like freaking out if I saw one of the health influencers that I followed. So like that's a little bit of nerdy in me. So anyway, everyone was doing taking collagen. And I was like, okay, maybe I should get on the train. Let's see. And I went to the grocery store and I saw enhanced collagen on the shelf. So I started using it. And the biggest note difference that I noticed has definitely been in my nails. And the other thing that I tell people is if you're taking collagen, you're like, I don't feel like it's doing anything for me, stop taking it. And in a couple weeks, you'll see that it definitely was. It's a gradual thing. It's not an overnight fix. You need to be taking it for a couple of months before you truly notice the differences with the fine lines, hair quality, your nail strength. When you do stop taking it is when you notice what an impact it actually had been making. So back to this. Um, when you hit that age of 25, your body's not making collagen like it did before. It needs vitamin C, it needs a bunch of amino acids, it needs your body to break down everything properly in order to rebuild these things. The other piece is we're also not eating like our ancestors did. Historically, if you look back, people were eating what we call nose to tail. This means they were eating the skin of the animal. This means that they were eating the fat. They were eating everything in between, like those jointy bits. Today, we're getting boneless, skinless chicken breast. We're getting extra lean ground beef. We're getting all of these fat free things. So we're missing out on a lot of this collagen that we can get naturally. This is why I really encourage people to add in a collagen supplement because, again, we're not getting those really good bits that we were before from food. Um, the other piece is that it can help to repair our gut lining. So, this is because it contains an amino acid called glutamine. Another little tangent on that piece, if you are someone that thinks that you are dealing with pretty bad gut health issues and you've gone to Dr. Google and it tells you try glutamine, you try glutamine like a pure supplement or a pure powder even, and you try it and you're like, that actually made things worse. I tell people to take it back a notch and try enhanced collagen or do bone broth because sometimes just the glutamine potency is a little bit less, but it can be really helpful for people, especially in the beginning stages of gut health issues. Pure glutamine can be a little bit too stimulating for people and actually make problems worse. Now, let's dive into how to choose the right collagen for you. There's a couple that I'm going to outline here. So I'm going to show you this slide. We're going to talk about enhanced collagen, marine collagen. We're going to dive into the plant-based collagen booster as well as chicken bone broth. So let's start with enhanced collagen because this is definitely Organika's top seller, the one we get the most questions about, the one you've probably seen the most. So first off, it's coming from grass-fed, free-range cattle. It is based from the US, but we're looking at it has types 1 and type 3 collagen. So this actually means, I'm going to backtrack again. All different types, all different collagens and bone broths are going to have different types of collagen that are most well known for specific things in the body. With enhanced collagen, we see type 1. Type 1 is typically known really for the hair, skin, and nails piece of things. Type 3 is known a little bit more for the muscle support, the gut lining support, and helping a lot with that smooth muscle tissue as well. So when we're looking at the enhanced collagen from Organika, you can also find it in Relax or Vitality. That means that Relax is combining magnesium bisglycinate as well as L-theanine. Both are really good to relax. And then Vitality combines with matcha. The reason I like these ones as well is if you are someone that, you have a hard time getting to sleep. We talked about how important that is for your beauty routine before. Adding in like a magnesium or L-theanine before your bedtime routine combined with collagen, which has certain amino acids that are really known for helping with that relaxation, gives you the perfect little brew to add into like your herbal tea before bed, help to fall asleep, help to unwind a little bit. Vitality, I really like that one, like I mentioned, because it has the matcha in it. When we're looking at our collagen production in our body, this works in twofold, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it with the plant-based collagen booster. We also need antioxidants to protect the collagen that we make or we're taking in through a supplement. Vitality, because of the matcha, matcha is green tea that's just been powdered, so it's really potent green tea. That combination is going to give us a really good antioxidant kick. Plus, it's giving us the collagen all in one. So we're protecting as well as building. When we're looking at the bovine collagen versus marine collagen, one thing you may have heard is how marine collagen is better absorbed by the body. 100% still is going to be the smallest molecules that you can get. So that means that it does really absorb well in your body in comparison to a lot. However, when we're looking in comparison to a lot of the other bovine collagens that you might be finding on the market, Organika's enhanced collagen does have a really small molecular size. I can't remember the exact number again, but it's quite small. I've definitely done my research on that. So it is a really good one to add, and it is actually quite close to the marine collagen. When we're looking at marine collagen, so Organica specifically, I like to talk about this because finding more sustainable options is always really important to me when I'm recommending things to clients. The marine collagen is actually coming from Canadian wild caught fish in the North Atlantic Ocean. Now, this is coming from byproduct. I know I didn't use the term properly, but I know it basically means that it's coming from fish that are already being used for other sources. It's a great option for pescatarians, and it contains the type 1 collagen. So that's the one that's best known for its hair, skin, and nail support. Like I had mentioned before, marine collagen is known to have such a small molecular size, so it is going to have that superior absorbability. And let's dive into the plant-based collagen booster as well as the bone broth. So I chose to talk about the chicken bone broth rather than the beef because beef has a similar collagen profile to enhanced collagen versus the chicken bone broth is a little bit different. So I just wanted to differentiate the two. We created the plant-based collagen booster because people vegans were looking for a plant-based option. Vegans and vegetarians can totally be enjoying this one. What it does is it has a lot of those antioxidants. So it's high in vitamin C. It uses something called astaxanthin, which is really high in antioxidants and is super potent. It has a lot of other basically great berries and food-based antioxidants in as a powder. Plus, it combines carrot and ginseng peptides. So these carrot and ginseng peptides they have a very similar peptide profile, so amino acid profile, as enhanced collagen does. So this means that it has all of the same amino acids in it that you would find in enhanced collagen from carrot and ginseng. Not necessarily the exact same levels, but it does have the same ones. Now, this is great because if you're combining the vitamin C that is found in the plant-based collagen booster and is necessary for natural collagen production, plus a lot of those the peptides from the ginseng and the carrot, you're getting the perfect building blocks for collagen in your body. Now, let's dive into that chicken bone broth. So it's coming from cage hormone and antibiotic-free chickens, and it contains type 2 collagen. Now, the reason I wanted to include this is because it is that type 2 collagen. Doesn't exactly have to do with beauty necessarily, but it can be really essential for our gut health. Also, because it is so high in glutamine. Um, this is my quick little tangent on glutamine, and I'm gonna have really one more for glycine that's found in it. So the glutamine that is in your bone broth is again going to be really great for your gut health. The type 2 collagen is really supportive for joint health as well. And then the glycine is going to be really important for pregnancy. So actually, if you are someone that is watching this and you are considering getting pregnant, or you currently are pregnant, I typically will recommend people be having bone broth or collagen because of the content that is going to help with your placenta as well as that growth. So, the role of fats in beauty. This is a huge, huge topic that I have with people. It's a huge topic of conversation because, yes, nowadays we totally are starting to hear and understand the importance of having healthy fat in our diet. But there's definitely a lot of clients that I still have that are stuck in the way of thinking that fats are bad and we need to avoid them. Healthy fats like MCTs, so that's medium chain triglycerides, as well as things like omega 3s, are going to be really essential for reducing inflammation and supporting hair and skin's moisture barrier. A diet that is low in fat, and I can speak to this myself. I definitely went through a stage in university where I did a counted my almonds, counted my how much, fat I was intaking, how much of an avocado was I eating. This girl had really dry and really brittle hair. It was not my best time. But luckily, I did the whole holistic nutrition thing and I learned that fat is very important. And here we are today. My hair is growing like a weed, tons of collagen every day, so we're good to go. Um, but the other piece that I always really like to mention to people when we're talking about fats is the importance of cholesterol. So, cholesterol is not all bad. You need to be choosing the right sources. Um, so, you want to be choosing things like, you want to be getting it from things like eggs. Those are some better sources than a lot of this more saturated fats that we're seeing, especially when we're looking at high fat conventionally raised meats, conventionally raised cattle that are then producing conventional dairy products. Those are the things where we maybe want to cut back on. But there's a lot of other cholesterol or sources of cholesterol and sources of fat that we definitely want to be having in our diet. This is because it's essential for hormone production. And as I mentioned in the beginning, hormone health is really important for overall beauty. When we're looking at things like our thyroid health, if our thyroid is in balance, sometimes we see it show up in our skin. Sometimes we'll see it show up in hair loss. A lot of times we'll see it show up in changes in our weight. When we are looking at other pieces of our hormone health, when we're looking at any kind of sex hormone imbalance, sometimes we'll see that show up in really bad acne. So there's a lot of things that can play a role, especially if we are really monitoring our fat intake. So typically, what I'll suggest for people is if you're wary or you don't think that you get enough fat in your diet, maybe just because you don't have a preference for it. I'll have people use something like the MCT, the Enhanced Collagen Boost, which uses MCT oil powder as well as collagen. Combine that in your tea or your coffee, and it's an easy source of good quality fats. Alternatively, if you love having fatty foods in your diet, things like salmon, anchovies, and sardines are going to be really great sources of well absorbed omega 3 fatty acids. Alternatively, you can also use something like seaweed. That's another really good source. And then finally, I wanted to chat about antioxidants in your beauty routine. So I mentioned this a little bit. when we talked about the plant-based collagen booster, as well as when we talked about the matcha in the vitality. I love to have people add antioxidants into their routine because this is essential for combating free radical damage in our body. Now, we are exposed on a daily basis to things that are going to cause general free radical damage, whether or not it is in the food that we're eating. If we're eating like really burnt types of foods that are can be carcinogenic, if we are exposing ourselves by using toxic cleaning products or toxic beauty products, if we're using plastic in the kitchen, depending on where you live, if you live in a city, it's likely that you're exposed to exposed to free radicals on a daily basis. Blue light from our screens, right now you're dealing with it. No wonder why a bunch of beauty products are now coming out with all of these blue light protectors. So it's really important that we're also protecting ourselves from within, because free radical damage isn't just going to show up on our in our beauty space. It's also going to show up in things like chronic illness or chronic disease. So we want to make sure that we're adding a few different sources. um, Again, you can definitely start with food, things like vegetables, excellent source. The brighter the better. They're all going to have their own different components to it and things that make them really beneficial. Berries, obviously, we know that all of those are really high in antioxidants. Any of those brightly colored fruits and vegetables are going to be the things you want to go for. However, even something like cauliflower that is white is going to have its own benefits, especially when it comes to supporting our body in other different ways. The other thing, actually, I'll mention this now. I don't have it on my slide, but we'll talk about it really quickly since we're talking about fruits and vegetables. Going back to that hormone piece, oftentimes, as long as you can digestively tolerate it, I'll usually have people incorporate a lot of cruciferous vegetables as well, when we're dealing with skin health things. Because when we're looking at a cruciferous vegetable, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, those types of things, and dark green leafy veggies, the more bitter, the better. All of these are going to be awesome for your liver health. Cruciferous veggies have something called indole 3 carbinol, which you can get in a supplement form. But I always say start with the vegetables first. That's going to be really helpful for estrogen support in your body and helping to clear that out. Bitter greens are going to be helpful with your overall digestion because they get that bile production up. Now, if you are not getting your 7 to 8 servings of fruits and veggies per day, typically I have people try out things like the plant-based collagen booster that is going to be really high in different antioxidants, spirulina, which is going to be really great. Again, it's that bright green as well. Adaptogens, surprisingly enough, have a ton of antioxidants, especially the adaptogenic mushrooms when we're looking at those. Another thing is bee propolis. A lot of people don't talk about it much. It is a natural, if you've heard about bee propolis, I will give you a quick little rundown. It isn't a really easy addition, either in a spray or a drop. There are tablets, but I like the taste of it, so I do the spray. I have an alcohol-free version, and all of these are bee propolis basically comes from the hive, and it's kind of their protector to make sure that no viruses or pathogens come into the hive. So now that's being cultivated for use in immune health. So it's been it's actually really interesting to see how you can use these natural sources and things that are naturally found in the environment, and creating these amazing supplements out of them. Okay, so here's a couple of recipes for you. I did keep it within the time that I wanted to. I try to keep this, at this time of day. I don't want to keep you here forever because it can be overwhelming, and it's a Tuesday night. Totally lost track of my days. Okay, so a couple of recipes. You will be getting these if you are signed up for the email, or if you did register for this webinar, you will get these. We have this Orange Dream Strawberry Plant-Based Smoothie that's using the plant-based collagen booster. Enhanced yogurt parfait. So this, you can always trade out the vanilla yogurt for a coconut yogurt if you want, whatever suits you if you can't do dairy. There is a Thai stew that combines the beef bone broth and the enhanced collagen, but you can just as easily change over to the chicken bone broth as well if you want. Chia ashwagandha overnight oats. So this one actually uses the ashwagandha powder. So this is one of those adaptogens that I had actually mentioned previously. And there's, I think I included two more in there maybe for you guys, little surprise recipes for you. Um, and if you have a question that we weren't able to answer today, so I know that you've ideally been adding some questions into the video. I'm going to try to get over to that. We'll see what happens. I might end up relying on someone else to answer or ask the questions for me. Technology has not been my friend this week. But if you have any questions that we don't actually get to in the conversation right now, you can feel free to email care@organika.com. Find us on social media at Organika Health, and you can 100% send us a message there. If you have any questions specifically for me, you have my handle down at the bottom as well. That's for Instagram and Facebook. Now I'm going to try to get over to see if I can see these questions.
Thank you so much. That I actually also put a link to the recipes in the chat as well for everybody. But anyone who signed up for the event, like Rhiannon said, we're going to send you an email shortly after with the survey, and then we'll include the recipes there as well. I don't see that any questions have come in.
Okay.
Are you able to see it? I do see
I
some
got
thank
it.
yous.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, good. Um, so maybe do you want to tell us your ultimate favorite Organica product while we're waiting to see if any questions come in?
I'm gonna say I couldn't figure out. I did exactly what you had instructed me to do, and I missed your question because the other thing was overlapping. Can you just repeat that?
Absolutely. I was just going to ask you, what is your ultimate? Do you have one ultimate favorite Organica product?
Oh man, definitely collagen. It's my go-to because I think that it's something that I recommend to almost all of my clients because it is something that is so easy for people to take. It's something that I also feel like I have this conversation with a lot of people, specifically women actually, where we are under consuming protein actually. A lot of people think that we actually don't need as much as we think. And, we're going through the day, grabbing a muffin in the morning and then getting a sandwich that maybe has like just a bit of vegetables on it at lunchtime and then dinner time. So we're not spreading out our protein throughout the day. So it's something that I really recommend for people to add in easy places. So whether or not that's your morning coffee and you're putting in 2 tablespoons, whether or not you make a smoothie and you toss it in there, maybe instead of a regular protein powder if you can't tolerate those. And also, I've noticed it as a huge impact for a lot of people. As a quick anecdote, I had one client. Fair enough. She was like 23 when she started taking this, but she emails me like a day later. Maybe I'd say it was probably a week later. And I always tell people, give yourself like a couple weeks to even 3 months before you really feel or notice the effects of collagen for you. But within a week, she's like, the hair on my legs is growing so fast. Like my eyebrows are so full. It's just like, you are an anomaly. But like, you can tell when people really need it sometimes too.
Great, that's awesome. So we're getting mostly just you're getting a lot of thank yous. I'd say everyone seems pretty happy with it. So you would say all of the collagens have no taste.
Yes. So, with some exceptions. So, the enhanced collagen, the marine collagen, and then the enhanced collagen relax. And there's another one that I didn't mention, which is the full spectrum that has types 1, 2, and 3 collagen in there. Um, so that combines the marine collagen, chicken bone broth, and bovine collagen. Um, all have no to minimal taste. The one that does have a taste would be the vitality, so the enhanced collagen vitality, because it does have the matcha in there. So you're going to have the flavor of the matcha. And then the drawing a mind blank. The plant-based collagen booster will have a light, like lemony kind of flavor in there. So typically I'll tell people to just add that to their smoothie. Or if you like a bit of lemony flavor, you can add it to a water. I sometimes, like last summer, don't tell anybody. I would sometimes do like plant-based collagen. I would do a little bit of club soda and like maybe a splash of gin, and it was delicious. But yeah, so the rest of them don't have much of a flavor. You can totally add them to really anything. Um, I specifically, or I personally don't add it to water. I know a lot of people do. I notice the taste. It's not the flavor. There's a taste if you have it in pure water. So just as a pre-warning, if you want to try it, go for it. But it might not be the thing for you. You might want it in your coffee instead. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So we did get another question come in. When is a good time to take probiotics and ashwagandha?
That is really dependent on the person. Sometimes I have people who like to take ashwagandha first thing in the morning to help to kind of level themselves throughout the day. Other people like to be taking ashwagandha at night because they want it to help them sleep at nighttime. So it really depends on what your needs are. Are you needing it to relax at the end of a day, or are you needing it to kind of get yourself into a good headspace before you leave for your work day, or before you roll out of bed and roll onto your whatever your home office is looking like. um, and then I would say with the ashwagandha, the one thing to remember is you want to be taking it on a daily basis, and you want to be taking it for an extended period of time. If you're taking ashwagandha, let's say once a week, you're not going to see the impact is if you're taking it every single day for a while. With the probiotics, it really will depend on which probiotic you're taking. Some people do take their probiotic on an empty stomach. Other people will only take it when they have eaten food. And that will depend on the type of coating that you have on it, if it's a powdered form, if it is encapsulated. So those are always going to be differential for it.
Thank you. I don't see any more questions coming in. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so tonight. You guys were wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, having Organika, and we love doing these. So if you have any ideas of things you'd like to hear from this in the next times, I guess let choices know.
Thank you so much. So please, everybody, just look forward or look for the link that you'll be sent shortly. And that's just going to have a quick survey. And we will ask you for your mailing address. If you provide that to us, then we'll send you a nutrition buck in the mail, so you can spend that on anything in the store. That usually comes within a couple of weeks. For future events, please visit our website. And if you'd like to find out more about our nutrition services, you can check out our website as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. And thank you again, Rhiannon. That was awesome.